Page 35, Shallow, song from the movie A Star is Born. I'm guessing the challenge on this piece is really going to be the rhythm. This is one of those pieces where you just say, just play it for me, let me hear it. So then you don't have to figure out the rhythm, you can just do it. I would prefer you be able to read it and figure out what the rhythm is, and so that's the approach I'm going to take. Even though I'm about to show you what the rhythm is. I'll look it over, it's 3 pages long, treble bass clef, 3 flats in the key signature. It's either in E flat major or C minor. If I look at the last measure on page 37, it's here. That is it's a 7 chord, but it's a C flat. It's C minor is what it is. It's in the key of C minor. I would do these scales and arpeggios for E flat major and C minor both, because they both have 3 flats. Yeah. And 4/4 time signature, and we got 8th notes everywhere. So let's just take this real slow and careful. Right hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're going to be playing on the ands a lot. That's the problem here. So once you can kind of get that, 1 and 3. And then 3rd measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See that you keep playing on the ends. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. All measure 4. Ugh. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's just take out those ties and play all the notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and a 3 and a, and then once you can get that, put the tie in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Let me get that some more. Let's go down to measure 10. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, those 16th notes are on beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. I'll measure 11. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Those are on the end of 4. It's just wonderful. Let's go down to measure 16. Now you got 2 voices going on, so you need to hold that half note down. So it's 1 and 2 and 3, and that all comes up on beat 3. And then the next measure, 1 and 2. So again, 2 voices. So hold these notes down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now what I typically do, like in a band or orchestra when I'm playing and the rhythm gets tricky, I'm not sure what's what, is I'll take a pencil and I'll draw a vertical line above the top staff where the beats are. And that tells me how the notes line up for them. For instance, in measure 17, I draw a vertical line above that 8th rest, because that's beat 1. And then the 8th note with the chord, that's beat 2. I draw a vertical line above that. And then where the half note is, that's beat 3. I draw a vertical line above that. And then beat 4 is in between the quarter note and the 8th note. So I draw a line between them, and that tells me where the beat is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That tells me whether, because the conductor's usually beating that if he's any kind of conductor at all, or she. And you can usually follow it that way too. It helps me. In addition to the rhythm, now we have to deal with multiple voices, 2 voices, and you need to hold these down as best you can. Let's look at the left hand, see if it's any different. Of course it's different. It's got a different rhythm. 1 and 2. I don't want to go from here to here. No. So I'm going to do a 2 on that chord, on that G. This way, my thumb's right there. I don't know why they would put a thumb there. I think that's an error. It should be a 2 on that G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going on, 5th finger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's 3rd finger. 1 and 2 and. If you go ahead and use thumb and measure 4, that way you're closer. Then do it again. I measure 15. First it's an octave, and now it's not. It's here, crossover. That's okay. You're going to find a lot of times in music, sometimes you'll deal with octaves, and sometimes you'll deal in tenths, where you come out. And that's what we're doing here. We're dealing in a tenth, that's all that is. And if you can't reach it, that's okay, you don't need to reach it, you can roll it. However, here is just here. Now you use your own fingering, whatever you feel. I like to connect things if I can. For instance, in measure 26 in the left hand, it's here, here, there, and that's okay. I just don't want to cross over the thumb. So instead, on the eighth thumb, rather than the thumb, I use third finger. Just reach up, and I'm there. If your hand's too small and you can't reach that, then the fingering in the bocas works better. So once I have an idea what hand is doing, I try to work out the rhythms and the fingering for each hand, then I'll go back and try and put them together. And I'll hesitate, but that's okay. So at the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, on beat 4, you're not playing a note, you're holding down. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And going on, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, the hands are overlapping here. Measure 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I hold that left hand down. So I go through and I put the hands together, and then I'll go back over it, and this can take a long time. It could take months, but very patiently, and I'll work out the hesitations. I may take it just a measure at a time, or 2 measures at a time, or maybe 4 measures at a time. It depends on the thing, and I'll work out the hesitations. What you don't do, I hope, is always start at the beginning and try and get through it. That doesn't work. Focus on those parts where you're hesitating and don't play the other parts. Leave the other parts out. If you can play it, the part that you can play, set it aside. Don't keep playing it. Work on the stuff you can't play. And then when you can get it all that way, then you can put it all together. You'll still be able to play the other stuff that you could play before. You'll still be able to play it. It's just when you're trying to learn a piece and you spend a lot of time playing what you can already play, you're sort of wasting time. You don't need to be working on the stuff you can already play. You need to be working on the stuff you can't play. Get that first, then put it together. And once I have the hesitations worked out, and the only hesitation right now I allow is the page turn. I'll deal with that later. But no hesitations, then I think about the articulation. This is pretty connected. They have the slurs. Yeah, and the rest you have to lift up. So I'm pretty much going to connect this. The only other thing would be the rolled chord at the end. The last measure you have here, 3, it's got the squiggly line. That's an arpeggiated chord. You play one note at a time, hold them down, and it's just it's not rhythmic, it's just rolled. Just passing weight right quick. The fingering you use, I don't care, as long as you can roll them one at a time. Don't go, no, it's 1. Now, people interpret this differently, and you do whatever your teacher tells you to do. Some people will play the top note on the beat. Here. Here. I was taught to play the bottom note on the beat. Here. Let it go that way. So you interpret it how you choose to, but I'm going to put the bottom note on the beat there together. So once I have an idea of the articulation, then I add the dynamics, and it applies to the melody, wherever that is. P at the beginning is soft, and here the melody is pretty much in the right hand. That's soft. This, very soft. Now, like in measure 4, you get this. This. That's not melody. That's a flourish. That comes down. You play that. This part, that part we want to hear. This, that needs to be in the background. So I want to bring out the melody. And these little flourishes, or whatever they are, if there's no words there, it's not melody. Except for, of course, for the introduction. The first 2 lines, that's introduction. They could have put a double bars after the end of the second line. because it's a new section. The song starts on measure 7. That's where the song actually starts. And they don't really give you much of any dynamics to speak of. You get a forte or a loud on measure 23, okay? And then you get a hairpin to get softer at the end and slow down and so forth. Once you get to know it and you get past all the mechanics and you got the rhythm and the notes and all that stuff, you start feeling this melody. How do you feel it? If you feel it getting a little louder and softer in places, put it in. But for the most part, the first half of this or more is soft, on the soft side. And then the last part of it, the last half or so, is louder. Then the speed, folk rock, moderate folk rock, whatever that is, I just say in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, because you're singing it. I mean, how fast are you going to sing it? You got to keep it slow so you can sing the eighth notes. And I'm sure a person who were really singing that, they would use rubato on this. They wouldn't play that sings just straight eighth notes. They would do some give and take with the rhythm on the eighth notes, and some are longer than others. And for this lesson, I'm going to play them straight. But in interpreting and getting into it and feeling it, you'll probably sing it rubato if you're singing it. Which I might mention while I'm here and we're on dynamics or speed, whatever we're on, I don't know. If you're doing this as a piano solo, you bring out the melody, okay? Measure 7 for the sing. We want to hear that. We want to hear the melody. If there's a singer singing and you're accompanying them, then the melody and what you're doing is the same as the background, and you bring it down. You don't bring it out. You don't bring out the melody. You let the singer have the melody. Now, if your singer isn't very good at it and they don't know the melody, you may have to play the melody a little louder to help them out. But if they're confident in it, tone the melody down. Let them have the melody. You don't need to play it for them. It gets a bit distracting. When a singer is singing and the piano is playing the same melody, it's just, doesn't work real well. There's been cases where I just don't play the notes at all. I just may do something like that and let them totally have the melody. Yeah, depends on how strong a singer you're accompanying. I'm going to pretend for this lesson that this is a piano solo. Now they've added pedal, and we can use pedal to help us out a little bit because it is pretty dry. We'd like to have the overtones. But again, you got to watch out because the pedal can really mess up the sound. It's overlapping. And first, we'll try the pedaling that they're shown and see if it works. If we like it, fine. If not, we'll change it. I'm going to put the notes down first and then the pedal. But don't be too late because these are eighth notes. They don't last that long. And I'm changing it each time after I play the notes so the pedal overlaps just a hair. This way, I always have sound. I don't have to worry about it. If it's sounding okay to you and you like that, just go with it. Or if you're just struggling with it, and I don't want to complicate the pedaling any, then fine. Otherwise, we want to clean this up a little bit. It's here. Now that's fine. That's it. But you can finger pedal these notes. I can hold them down with a hand. And the third measure, here, I don't want that. So I just don't pedal it at all. I just hold the notes down. There, with the hand, and then you can pedal. And in measure 4, we lift up so we get the rest. And I don't want that. No. So I'm going to lift up. Here, I'll hold that down. Then it just cleans it up a little bit. Measure 7. I don't want that. So I just don't pedal until the G. I don't pedal until the F. Here, and then change it. Measure 11. I don't want that. So I don't pedal the 16th notes. So I'm just lifting the pedal up to try and keep the melody clean, and I'm not pedaling the 16th notes. I don't want smearing. That's kind of, I don't want all that junk. I'm just basically pedaling it as I hear it. And you do the same. However, again, if it's making the pedaling too complicated, then just pretty much play it like it is. I just don't think it sounds as nice. Now this page turn, how are we going to do this page turn? Because we can't mess up the beat because of a page turn. If you're not going to memorize at least page 35, then we have to turn the page. And where are we going to turn the page? If we can figure out a time when one hand isn't too busy, then the other hand, we can't leave out melody notes, but you can leave out the other notes. We don't want to leave out notes that we can help it, but you got to do what you got to do. Don't leave out any more notes than you need to. So if I could memorize measures 13 and 14, see? Once I do that, then I can that frees the left hand to go ahead and turn the page while the right hand's doing it. While the right hand's doing the melody, you do it with the left hand to keep going. That's about my only suggestion on that. So I would leave out the left hand for most of measure 13 and probably measure 14 to get time to turn the page while you're playing the right hand. So you need to memorize those two measures is all. I get comments occasionally say, well, I just copy the page so I've got them all laid out. This is copyrighted music and I can't tell you to do that. You can't copy a page or any portion of the book for any reason at all legally. Now some people would argue with that, but the truth is no. So I don't say that in my videos. If I were actually doing it, I might have to break the law once in a while, but as teaching in this format, I can't say that.